Hi, this is Marilyn Michaels, and you are listening to TV Confidential.
I had them 40 thieves, Scheherazade had 1,000 tales. But master, you're in luck, 'cause up your sleeves you got a brand of magic never fails.
Ed Robertson, along with Greg Ehrbar, and our guests Will Ryan, Nick Santa Maria, and Michael Schlesinger. Will and Nick are the stars, and Mike is the writer, producer, and director of the Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster, a collection of 1930s-style comedies that pay homage to the Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy, and other vintage comedy teams. There are 5 shorts on the Biffle and Shooster DVD: The Biffle and Shooster Murder Case, Imitation of Wife, Schmoboat, Bride of Finkelstein, and it's a frame-up, while guest stars in the shorts include H.M. Wynant, Andrew Parks, Dick Miller, Robert Forster, and Robert Picardo. There is also a ton of bonus features also available on the DVD. The Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster is available on DVD through our friends at Kino Lorber. You can also find it at Amazon.com and wherever DVDs are sold online, while the Adventures of Biffle and Shooster, which is the Reader's Digest version of the Biffle and Shooster Pantheon, the Adventures of Biffle and Shooster is available for streaming on demand through Amazon, Vudu, and other streaming platforms. You can follow Biffle and Shooster on Twitter at Biffle and Shooster. Before we forget, Benny Biffle has a birthday bash coming up.
The big Benny Biffle birthday bash.
On March 31st.
Say it like Bing.
The big Benny Biffle birthday bash.
There you go.
You got to be there.
Boa.
You got to be there. It's a live show, Biffle and Shooster, and we're celebrating Benny Biffle's birthday. It's March 31st. It's the day before April Fool's Day. And you can get the latest issue, comic book, number 3.
The Adventures of Biffle and Shooster.
The end of the trilogy.
Which I'm holding up to the microphone.
Would you like to swing a star,
carry
moonbeams home in a jar,
and be better off than you are?
Doo-doo.
Or would you rather be Bob Hope?
Boo-doo.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, okay.
Now, will there be any special guest stars performing with you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have Saratoga Ballantyne.
Yay.
The daughter of the great comedian
Carl Ballantyne.
And Seal Cabot.
Pardon me?
And Seal Cabot.
Ooh.
Seal Cabot was her mother, the great cabaret artist.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, and a wonderful.
Oh, and she's in Bride of Finkelstein.
She is Bride of Finkelstein.
She is
She's the bride.
Saratoga is, yes.
She's brilliant.
She plays the bride. And one of the most talented ladies I've ever worked with.
And where will this birthday bash be held?
Go ahead, Will. Take
At
it.
a little place called Coffee Gallery Backstage, which is in beautiful Altadena.
Is that the place
Altadena
where...
meaning above Dina.
Above Dina.
I know
Is
Dina.
that the place where you performed
Yes.
back in September?
I saw you
Okay.
there.
All right, I know.
Yes.
Okay, I know where it is.
So come to Altadena and see the Alta Cockers.
I keep one in my Alta Cocker locker.
But it'll be fun. And I believe that Cassandra will be there as well.
Cassandra Carroll, the wonderful Marilyn Monroe tribute artist. Quite a lovely lady in herself. I believe she'll be singing.
Yes,
Happy
there may
Birthday
just
to
be
Mr.
a
Biffle.
public domain birthday song
That's
sung
right.
too. Yes.
That's right.
Oh, in the JFK way?
Well,
In that way,
I wouldn't
in
be
a way.
surprised.
It'll be a breathy Benny
Yeah,
Biffle.
Or
birthday bash.
a breathy, a breathy Benny Biffle birthday bash song.
Sung by a beautiful babe.
Beautiful babe.
Warbled by a beautiful babe.
Right. We're really working the alliteration today, aren't we?
She could sing it like
It's good for a bunch of alliterations.
we Bonnie Baker.
We Bonnie Baker. Wow.
How about Bonnie Blue Butler? Hey, Big,
Bonnie,
Big would have been great.
I
Gone with
actually
the
got
Wind.
one of my biggest laughs in a theater, sitting in the audience watching Gone with the Wind. When he named her Bonnie Blue Butler, I yelled as Bing Crosby, Bonnie Blue Butler! And it got this huge laugh. It's funny you should say that.
I never heard that story.
It's true.
Well, you want to hear something really funny? A few years ago, UCLA Film and Television Archive was doing a series of vaudeville performers on film, and they ran the original big broadcast from 1932.
I was there.
And if you see, that's what I'm leading up to. And in the opening credits, they have like pictures of all the big radio stars, and they then one would zoom out to the front, and then they might sing a couple bars of their signature song. But when they started the movie, the sound was out. So it's still running while they're trying to fix it. So when Bing comes in, Nick lip syncs "When the Blue of the Gold," and the whole audience just fell apart.
I forgot about that.
Oh,
my God.
Absolutely, and you synced it perfectly. And then finally they stopped the projector and fixed it and started again. But,
And threw me out. But otherwise,
Again.
yeah. Oh, that's funny. I can't believe you remember that. I
oh God,
totally
yes,
forgot.
that was hysterical.
But I'm the type of person that I'll meet somebody at a class reunion who remembers something I said in second grade, and I'll be like, I don't even remember you. You know, what I said in second grade.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
it's good to know that I was in second grade.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Well, that's where I graduated. Actually, I was thrown out.
But based on the
By the
reactions,
usher.
Yeah, that's right. We had ushers in my school.
based on the reactions,
At least
you
I think
got,
it was a school.
Yeah, it was more of a house.
And I think Greg was about to say
Sort of a house
something.
of usher.
He was
Go
about to
ahead,
say
Greg.
something
We're
for the
sorry.
third time.
But based on the based on the reactions that you've gotten in your class with the students about comedy,
Yes.
and screening this for various groups of people, they're various ages. So demographics be darned.
Mm-hmm.
All ages love this comedy. It doesn't matter when it took place.
Funny
It doesn't
is
matter
funny.
when. Funny
Yes.
is
Funny
funny.
is funny.
Have you been discovering that as you've been teaching that? And isn't this something that all ages can enjoy?
I have shown it to younger people, and I would say most find it very compelling and funny. Most. There were a couple that sort of didn't really get it. You know,
Well, that's
they
with
weren't raised
anything.
on this kind of thing.
That's with anything.
You know.
It's alien to them.
But for my classes, I teach adult education. So these people are over 50, over the age of 50. So they have been indoctrinated in this style of comedy. But one thing I'm noticing about these over 50 people, either they don't remember a lot of this stuff, or unlike ourselves here, who kind of like, live in this world, it's just not part of their daily thing. So they're being reintroduced to this stuff, and I got to tell you, they're loving it. They're just loving it.
And that has to be very gratifying, not only for you guys as the performers, but Mike as the writer and the brains behind the whole thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have to tell a quick anecdote. I think I may have told this the last time we were here. Several years ago, we had the premiere of Bride of Finkelstein in Syracuse, New York, at a classic film festival called Cinefest. And it played incredibly well, as you would imagine, because talk about preaching to the choir, right? Anyway, later that day, a woman came up to me, and she said she had dragged her 17-year-old daughter just for the day to see some old movies. And you have to understand, 17-year-old girls are so not our target demographic. But what she said to me was she hated every single thing she saw all day except Bride of Finkelstein. She loved it and wanted to know if there were more. And I thought, what an
love
incredible compliment. I mean, she's sitting there watching, Warren William and Lee Tracy and Ruth Chatterton and Thelma Todd and all these wonderful people, and she hated them, but she loved Biffle and Shooster. I mean, it's the strangest compliment I've ever gotten, but it's one of the best.
How could you not like
I
Lee
love
Tracy?
What's that?
How
How
could
can you
you-
not love Lee
Yeah.
Tracy?
How can you not love
That's
Lee
because
Tracy?
you guys are hot.
Exactly.
We're hot. Yeah, we are. We're hot. In fact, I'm having a hot flash right now.
If this room was on fire, you wouldn't be on.
You two guys should be on Riverdale.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
all they need. Yeah, these have they had enough grief already?
They already have somebody playing Jughead.
Hey, you could replace Luke Perry.
That's right. Well, there's an opening.
God rest his
Not
soul.
anymore.
Oh, that's terrible.
He died.
That's
terrible. I
not.
know.
That's
I
not.
know.
It's very sad.
That's
very
very
52.
sad.
My God, he
I
was in
know.
better shape than all of us.
Did he play
Yeah.
a teacher? What did he play on?
I
He
think
played
a
Archie's
parent.
dad.
Archie's
played
dad.
You're
Archie's dad.
kidding.
You know,
He
it's
doesn't
true.
look at all like the great Gildersleeve.
Well, you never know. I have a brother who's in his early 60s, and he just recently had a stroke.
Yeah.
And he's recovered, thank God. It wasn't as major as Luke Perry's, of course. But I did research after my brother had the stroke, and unfortunately, most strokes occur before you're 60 years old.
Yeah.
That's the demographic.
That's
So-
true. I think Hefner had his stroke when he was like 55 or something like that.
Yeah.
And yet he managed to live another 35 years.
Isn't that amazing?
Like a teenager.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there
It's
you
like a
go.
teenager has a doctor with him at all times.
Well,
Well,
what about
he
like Curly
generally
Howard,
did, right?
who was in his 40s when he had his
who did?
Curly Howard had
Yeah.
a massive stroke
That's
when he was
right.
still in his 40s.
But of course, back then life expectancy wasn't near
It
what
was
it is
That's
a lot
true.
much
That's
shorter
true.
than it is today.
Actually, a
yeah.
lot
I mean,
of
you-
people
you
died
look-
before they were born.
No, but seriously, you look at old,
Wait, let me look at that.
you look at guys.
I think I'm wrong.
You look at in the old movies, and they're like in their 40s and 50s, but they look like they're ancient.
Yeah, people seemed older.
I think people looked older back then. If you look at a 1965 yearbook and you look at the people, they look like our parents.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like...
Go to Sunset Boulevard. Gloria Swanson's character is supposed to be 50, and she looks like a mummy. And then you look at Jane Fonda, who is like 81, and she looks like Gloria Swanson's granddaughter.
She looks fabulous.
Yeah, she looks great.
But remember the old lady in the Laurel and Hardy movie where they fixed up her house? I mean, she looked like the lady in Whistler's...
Louise Emmons?
Is that who that is? Okay.
That's Mush and Milk.
That's Mush and Milk.
But she had the shawl. Is that the way old ladies look then? Because
and old guys were in wheelchairs and they had long white beards.
No, you're thinking of Monty Woolley.
Yeah. No, really long.
Also, movie stars who were 17, 18, 23 years old had gravitas.
Yeah.
They did.
I mean,
you go to the Oscars nowadays, and these kids come out. They're wearing grown-up clothes, but they're kids, and they sound like
you
kids.
look at Cary Grant in The Awful Truth. He was like 29 in that, and he seems so worldly. And here's Adam Sandler, who's in his 50s, and he's still acting like a mentally challenged high school kid. You know?
Acting?
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. They looked older back then. People just looked older. And actually acted that way. They were more mature. It just seemed more mature back then. But it's why I can't watch talk shows nowadays, because everybody's, over there, and
you must be watching the wrong talk shows. There's still some people who well supposed.
Yeah, Noam Chomsky doesn't do that.
Yeah, he does. In fact, he did it. He called me yesterday and did it. Exclusive.
From Arizona.
Yeah, from Arizona.
Yeah. Long distance.
There you are.
I don't know what we're talking about.
But it's good. This is good radio.
This is good radio?
This is very good radio.
I'd hate to hear bad
This is...
This is unhinged radio.
Well, you got a lot of choices if you want to.
No, these are my favorite types of hours, because my job here is just to direct traffic and keep it going and stay out of the way. Mm-hmm. And remember to plug what the guests are here for, which is the Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster.
A Kino Lorber release.
A Kino Lorber release, which is available at Amazon or wherever DVDs are available. DVD includes commentaries on all 5 shorts by Mike, Will, and Nick, plus a vintage Vitaphone bonus short, plus bloopers and outtakes, including bits from the Spanish language version of Imitation
Another
of
thing
White.
that was totally ad-libbed.
Mm-hmm, completely.
Because we were planning on doing it at one point. This should explain that in the early days of sound, before dubbing, they would sometimes shoot alternate versions in French or Spanish. Yeah.
And they would
like the Spanish Dracula is probably the best well-known, but frequently they would change out the cast.
Right.
But when they needed American stars, like Laurel and Hardy, they would just read the line phonetically off chalkboards. So one day after we finished on Imitation of Wife, we finished one of the dinner scenes, and I said, hey, want to do the Spanish thing now? And they said, yes. So I just rolled the camera, yelled action, let him ad-lib until they stopped. And you worry because everybody's so politically correct nowadays, but no one's ever complained. Everybody finds it just hilarious because you guys are obviously having fun too.
Oh, it was a riot. I loved it.
Before I forget, the 3rd issue of the Biffle and Shooster comic book is also coming out on the 31st of March.
That's right. It's very rare. It's very hard to find copies of Biffle and Shooster
comic books. We're down to our last
books.
100,000 copies.
How do you get them?
The only way currently to get them is at one of our appearances. So the 31st of March, that's the only place you can get
it.
That
doesn't help people outside of Los Angeles.
I know it. Isn't it terrible?
We should have an outlet.
Yeah, have Amazon. You can do that.
Sure we can. And the book, too.
These will be
Biffle and
available at
Shooster's
some
Portable Guide to Proper Etiquette.
Yeah.
Yes.
When is that coming
out?
out?
Is that a thing?
It's already out.
It is?
It is?
It is.
And it's very funny.
Where can we find it?
Mr. Schlesinger does a forward for it.
Is this or are you putting me on?
I'm serious.
I don't know if you guys.
Ed, would I steer you wrong?
The book is legitimate. It's an absolutely
It's a legitimate book.
Legitimate book, legitimate copy.
Yes, we are. There's the book. It's like magic. You just pulled the book out.
Everybody look. It's the book.
I'm holding the book in front of the
Are
microphone.
you looking at it? There you go.
Yes.
Designed by the great...
Yeah, Xavier Leslie Cabarga. And it's Oxnard University Press, a very prestigious company.
And that's a real
Nick
company.
is an ox and Will is a narc.
Real.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we should mention the art in the comic book,
we're
too.
all about plugging Biffle and Shooster related merchandise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
We are not just shorts. We are a real
We're
industry.
business.
We're a
an
micro industry.
Yeah.
Tell them about the comic book, the artists.
Oh, Mike Kazala, wonderful artist. In recent years, he did a lot of the Simpsons comic books. Before that, Ren and Stimpy. Before that, all the Warner Brothers characters, Mighty Mouse, and He's a very funny guy, very terrific. And he's the principal artist there. We have a couple of other artists, starting with the second and third issues. We've got Professor W.Z. Ryan doing some of his artwork, and he hasn't drawn for comic books in a long time. And we've got Milton Knight, who's really pretty terrific. In fact, he's in that issue.
He's even better in the day.
How about some of those letters? Are they still pouring in?
Yes. Oh, yes. I think the first issue had some.
I think they were vowels.
It being the first letter, first issue, it had some terrific celebrity letters, and it's great. Now the comic book seems to exist in a different time zone. I think it's somewhere between 1946 and 1952. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a letter from Mary Hartline in issue number 4.
I was going to say,
from Super Circus.
It looks authentic and vintage.
Yes, because it's both.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little later because it's sort of mimicking the Bob Hope and Jerry Lewis comic books of the 50s.
It presages those, and the first Bob Hope comic was written in 1949.
But the caricatures of Biffle and Shooster on the cover, they kind of look like, I don't know my comic books that well, but they look like the people who drew the Archie comics back in the day.
Maybe there's a touch of that there. There might be a touch of
they
Bob
were
Oxner.
around then.
Yeah.
I've been called a jughead before.
Yeah, if you're thinking of who's the guy who was married to Josie?
That's
Reynolds?
Dan DeCarlo.
Dan DeCarlo. Yeah, there's a touch of that
Yvonne's
there.
son.
At the time he was, except Dan DeCarlo couldn't do that because at the time he was doing Egghead. If you remember that character.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
For Timely.
Price.
On Batman.
Yes.
Exactly.
Olga!
But,
And the yoke's on you.
That's right.
Bill Morrison is
That's where I
working
went
on a
to
cover.
college.
Bill Morrison has recently been the editor of Mad Magazine, you know.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's also a Mad Magazine vibe just flipping around.
Oh, good.
They're very
there's a Mad-
enjoyable.
yeah.
I happen to be the one person in America who didn't grow up obsessed with
Harvey
comic books.
Kurtzman?
I wasn't a big comic book
I'm the
fan.
second one.
Okay, there you go. But I look at these
That's what
and I read
I
them,
knew
and
there was
they're
something
very-
about you I liked.
You had to dig, but you found something. But I really think these are very funny. These are very funny comic books.
Yes.
You put the comic in the book.
Yes.
It's very good.
Hey.
There's also a section, sort of a Hollywood gossip column.
Oh, yes, yes.
And there is
Quite up to date.
Fun things to do. And there is a special bonus comic with Elmo Aardvark.
Elmo Aardvark.
Oh, that's right. Yes, a
Let's-
5 or 6 pager.
Let's talk a little bit about him because I don't know if everybody. Do you know who Elmo Aardvark?
I do not, but you're going to tell me.
Oh,
His original animated star. He goes back to 1889 when he started a series of flip books. Then he became a star of Magic Lantern stories and things. And film came along, and he did some of those in the silent days. And sound came along, and he did some of those too. So he's been around for a long time. My great-great-grandfather, Terwilliger Ryan, worked for the Cleveland newspaper and started
dealer?
there. No, it was another one. The Star
The
and
Fancy Dealer?
The Star and Intelligencer, I think.
Oh, okay.
Was
That's
the
funny
name.
that intelligence would be a part of your
I know,
family.
isn't that odd?
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of
Actually,
proud
Star
of
would be kind of funny too.
that. Right, yes. It's oxymoronic, and
Nothing insulting.
right.
No reason.
So then we
to be
just got rid of the
insulting.
oxy, and there you
goodness.
go.
So does it include the famous characters from the Elmo Aardvark series, like?
Squiggly Pig, Doodly Dog. Actually, there'll be adventures of them in the 3rd issue.
Wow.
Yes.
This is exciting. This is
Squiggly's
monumental.
back, and Doodly's back, and even Laffy Giraffe, who was kind of the understudy of Elmo Aardvark. If Elmo Aardvark had a licensing deal with one company
And a longer neck.
then at that point, my grandfather would license Laffy Giraffe to another company.
Okay, so just to be clear, the comic book is available on a limited basis.
In person.
That's
That's the only place.
You know,
Unless
But
you want
that's going to change.
But that,
you really
yeah,
you
ultimately,
can't sell
ultimately.
it locally. You got to get on Amazon or someplace.
but-
it's up to the people that do that.
But
yeah.
the Biffle and Shooster Portable Guide to Proper Etiquette, or as I like to call it, Biffle and Shooster the book, that's available through Amazon and Wide.
I believe so. Yeah. That's
So maybe if people write into
company.
Dell, they can find out.
Is he
Maybe.
around?
Dude, you're getting a Dell.
I want some blood. That Dell?
Adele Astaire.
No, Dell.
Adele
Dell.
Astaire.
Dell, who played Bella.
Gabe Dell, he meant.
Oh,
Yeah,
Gabe Dell.
Gabe
Yeah.
Dell.
Oh.
He played Bella in the Steve Allen Show.
Yeah.
Bleh.
Yeah.
He's the one who actually, I
I've
think, started
blood.
that whole.
He did,
Bleh.
actually.
Oh, did he
You know,
start
it started
that?
out as a
We
private
had-
joke between Hunts Hall and Gabriel Dell, who were best friends.
Yeah.
Really.
We had Howard Storm on our program a couple weeks ago.
He reigns supreme.
Yeah. And
Great guy.
Ed's lost it. I think he lost it.
Right. Gail Storm and her lovely sister Dorothy.
And Howard,
Dorothy Gale.
I asked
Her
Howard
aunt.
about directing Robin Williams. And in answering that, Howard basically said he let Robin go, just as you let Will and Mike go.
Nick.
And
Nick, by the
I'm
way.
sorry, Will and Nick.
There you go. That's okay. You're holding a mic.
That's what confused.
That's probably what threw you off.
At least take me
My
to
name
dinner
is-
If you do
first.
it again, I will throw you off.
My name is Will Clipboard.
Yeah, Will Clipboard.
Formerly Will Garage Door
I'd
Opener.
like to have dinner before you do the sex to me.
Oh, I wish you people were having as much fun as we are.
I forgot the question, so while I try to gather myself, we'll remind you that our guests this hour are Will Ryan, Nick Santamaria, and Michael Schlesinger. Will and Nick are the stars, and Mike is the writer, producer, and director of The Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster. Greg Ehrbar is with us. We hope you'll stay with us when we continue our conversation with Will and Nick and Mike when we come back on TV Confidential.
Buying or selling a home can be one of the most stressful things we'll ever do in life, but it doesn't have to be. And no one knows better than our friends at Front Porch Realty Group. They're a community of realtors serving the Northern Bay Area of California that cares about their clients as individuals first and foremost. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to lease or sell your property in the Bay Area, Front Porch Realty Group will help you through this important transition by providing you with the right information for your situation while lessening the pain. They also work with a network of realtors throughout California who provide the same high caliber of customer service. Call Front Porch Realty Group at 415-886-7411 for a realtor referral near you. You can also visit their website, frontporchrealtygroup.com, for more information on the services they provide, including upcoming workshops and seminars. For more information, call 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com. Front Porch Realty Group. They'll find the solution that works best for you.
Missed a show? We have more than 250 archived editions of TV Confidential available as digital downloads. For more information, go to shop.tvconfidential.net, shop.tvconfidential.net. One more item. January 23rd, 2019 marks the 100th anniversary of the birth of television's original genius, Ernie Kovacs. And to mark the occasion, our friends at Shout Factory have put together Ernie Kovacs, the Centennial Edition. Ernie Kovacs, the Centennial Edition, a 9-DVD box set that combines previously released volumes to bring you a cornucopia of Ernie's greatest and most memorable hits, including episodes from his NBC primetime show, his 5 classic ABC TV specials from the early 1960s, the rare color version of Ernie's legendary silent show, Eugene, the only existing filmed solo interview with Kovacs himself, Ernie's award-winning commercials for Dutch Master cigars, plus a collection of short films and a whole lot more. Ernie Kovacs, the Centennial Edition, is available now wherever DVDs are sold through our friends at Shout Factory. You can listen to this show all over again as a podcast on TuneIn, iTunes, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and other podcast platforms. Best of all, it's free. To find out how to subscribe to the TV Confidential podcast, go to the homepage at televisionconfidential.com and click subscribe now.